Hello there, it's Sarah from Paper Lovely. Thanks for joining me today. Yes, more watches, but this time we are in a different colorway. I just could not stop myself from creating these. So I am, of course, using the Stamp Market watch bands and Time to Say matching sentiment stamps. This time we're doing a bit of a retro rainbow, and I'm going to be using, again, some Stamp Market cardstock, using golden, coral, blush, leafy, tropic, wild berry, and mixing in some craft there as well. We'll also pull in some of the diamond glitter for one of the watch faces. So I am starting out stamping out all of the dials onto my watch faces. This is going to be a thank you card. I really love the sentiment. Thanks for all the times you've helped me. That kind of just really fits so well with this particular set. There are some other options as well, but this was my favorite. So I have chosen two of the thank you sentiments. This one, of course, on the square reads thanks, thanks, thanks. And then the circle reads thank you for your time. So using my Simon Says Stamp black ink for that, got all of those stamped out, and now we're going to get our watches put together. So we're going to add this yellow border around the thanks for your time. Using my stamp block to make sure that's down nice and tight all the way around. We'll go ahead and add our watch hands here, just a tiny dot of glue in the center. And I'm going to add in a purple watch hands on this face. And now we'll get started on our watch band. So I'm going to do some layered stripes on this. I've got a thicker blue stripe I'm going to put in the center. And this is going to cover up the holes on that watch band. That's okay. We're not going to see them when we place them down on our card base anyways. And then I'm going to add this green on either side of this very thin green stripe. We're just going to border that blue stripe in the center there, using my bone folder to make sure that's down nice and tight, and we will repeat the same on our second watch band. We'll go ahead and get this all put together. I have got some craft pieces here for our bars that the band is going to sit on. Just adding a little stripe of glue there and centering that on my watch band. And then we'll add a little dot on the side of the watch face. Again, I'm using the background here of my stripes on my craft mat. Make sure to get this lined up nice and straight. And we'll add the other side on as well. And that will complete our first watch. Now this is the larger watch face, adding a border of this diamond glitter around here. then of course we'll add our watch hands down. I love that they included two different types of the watch hands here. You have the more traditional with a point, and then a little bit more modern that just goes straight out. Really gives you a nice option on how you want each piece to look. I have really just gone with a mix on all of mine. Now we're going to work on these watch bands. I'm going to go with sort of a center stripe again as well, but this time we're going to do 3 of these smaller purples. So I'm going to start by placing one down in the center, and then that's sort of my plumb line to work off of. So I'll pull in a second and leave a little border of that pink in between. Try and keep my stripes as even as I can here. And doing the same thing on the opposite side, just trying to keep that pink even in between all of these stripes to create a little center border there. I'm sliding them down ever so slightly just to try and also keep them centered on the pink band as well. And then we're going to do the same thing here with the opposite side, starting in the center, and then we will add our second and third stripes on either side of that. We'll go ahead here and trim off the excess. And then we'll get our watch all put together. I chose some yellow for the bars underneath our bands this time. Again, adding a little line of glue, and we'll just center that on our watch band. And then we'll add a little dot on the side of our watch, using my mat to keep this nice and even. And we'll do the same thing on the opposite side. And that'll complete our second watch. Now, this one and the last one I think are tied for my favorite out of these. I love this orangish red color next to this teal blue. I'm creating this polka dot here, similar as I have on some of the previous watches. I have cut out all these polka dots in this red coral color, and I did that by using the ends of this same watch strap. So all the 3 little holes there that you would put your watch prong into to keep it tight on your wrist, I just ran that through a bunch of times to create all of our little polka dots. I really don't have a rhyme or rhythm as to how I'm laying these out. I'm just sort of adding dots in here and there to create a little polka dot pattern, making sure I have enough of them showing on either side of the watch band. Making sure those are down nice and tight. Just gonna give that a little press with my stamp block. And then anywhere I have any little bits of glue peeking out, I will take my pin and just quickly wipe those away. I find that with smaller things like polka dots or these very thin stripes, it's easier to get that glue when it is still liquid. I do have my adhesive eraser, but with really small sort of fragile things like those, it's easier to grab it if you can while it's still liquid. We're going to use our square watch face on this one, adding a green border around there. And then we'll add our little hands in, just a tiny little glue dot, one on top of the other. We'll go ahead and get both of our bands placed behind there. And our third watch will be completed. All right, for our fourth and final for today, we're going to go ahead here and get our face put together. I've got this same red sort of coral color that we're going to place for our border. And then, of course, we've got to get our little hands in place as well. And for this one, I'm going to do a bunch of hearts in a row for our band. And I love the look of this yellow and pink together. Again, it's really a tie for this one and the last one as to which is my favorite. I'm going to line this up here using my craft mat to keep sort of the V of the top of that heart in line with that center line, which does help keep this even. I'm eyeballing how I'm laying out the hearts, but for the most part, just trying to space these evenly. And if you follow that center line, you'll be able to move these around back and forth to make sure you can fit all 5. I tell myself I'm too much of a perfectionist when it comes to lining things up like this. These are handmade. They're supposed to look handmade, but I still strive to get everything as even as I possibly can. Again, I'm going to line this up just using that center line there as sort of a plumb line to place all of the V's for my heart. And of course, we'll get everything placed together. I'm pulling in some craft bars for this time, and I'm going to layer these on top. Again, just a little line of glue, just centering that right on my watch band there. And then we'll line these up on my craft mat and get everything nice and centered. Add our other watch bands. And that's our fourth and final watch for this card. I'm going to go ahead and pop these all up using some foam dots. And now we're going to go ahead and get everything lined up on our card base. So I'm going to just space everything out evenly here. I want to show as much of those watch bands as I can, but I also want to, alternate these faces so they're not stacked, directly on top of each other. So once I've got those laid out in a way that I like them, we will peel away the backing here and get these pressed into place. I am using a little bit of mint tape there just to keep my card base nice and straight, make it a little bit easier. And I'm going to alternate here, starting at the bottom and then go to the top. I really wanted to try and keep the same border on the top and the bottom. And the easiest way to do that is to place down the top and the bottom watches, and then I can center the other two in between. That way nothing is getting shifted as I'm laying things down. And we're just going to get this last one popped into place. We'll remove that mint tape. And of course, we're going to go ahead here and cut off all the excess. I'm going to stamp out this sentiment on the inside. Thanks for all the times that you've helped me. I love that little play on the watch there. We'll add some ATG to the back and pop that on the inside of our card base. And that is going to complete our card for today. Here are a few close-ups of the finished card. In the description box below, you'll find my blog post, which has additional photos and links to the supplies I've used. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a comment or a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.